Hello and welcome to my YouTube video channel. This 7-minute video is going to be on the return of the American bank swallows to the local cliff area along the shore of Lake Erie. We're shooting this with my old X380. It was my first camera bird that I more or less assembled myself from parts. It's always interesting to use this camera bird because it has a lot of little quirks to it. The most noticeable of which is it has a tendency to go into what they call the toilet bowl rotation. And we were able to get it to be stable on takeoff, but later on the way back it starts doing that. Anyways, we're flying along here, and this bank area here was decimated by this past winter. You're going to see a lot of erosion and slippage of the sides of the cliffs. You're going to also see a whole bunch of swallows flying around here in front of me. I'm out over the lake here, not closing in too close to where their homes are, because I want to give them a chance to more or less get accommodated and used to this big black bird flying around in front of them. So you see them flying by there. The American bank swallows hibernate, well, not hibernate, but they fly south down into South America during the winter time, and they come back up here around the 1st of May, and they go to these areas here along the shore of Lake Erie that have these banks that are mostly comprised of clay-like dirt. This particular area here that I'm shooting now is adjacent to the park, and this guy throws a bunch of hard fill over the side, which has prevented a lot of erosion from occurring there. But the park area here doesn't do anything like that, and consequently you're going to see a lot of slippage of the side face of the cliff that has fallen down. And unfortunately when it did that, it took huge numbers of the nests, the hole nests that these bank swallows make in the side of this cliff face to nest in and raise their young. And you know, I would say I'm going to put up a couple of links to the previous shoots that I did last year, but if you look at those, you'll see there was probably 500-600 holes in the side of this cliff, especially where I'm shooting right now. And this year you see nothing. If you look a little bit on the left as we're moving alongside it, you see huge piles of dirt that have slid off. And those trees that you see right more or less in center, they're all undercut. You know, I don't think that any of those trees are going to be there come next spring, because all the dirt underneath them has slid away and is underneath. And we're going to kind of like move in a little closer now for a better look. I'm watching this on a little 7-inch tablet back at the transmitter, so it's really hard to see. But even with that small device, I could see that, you know, all the holes, the nesting holes that were there last year were missing. And so I'm, you know, again flying along slowly side to side, just sort of crabbing it along here and trying to look for the nesting holes, and I'm not seeing anything near what was present last year. So the bank swallows that made it back are going to have to redo all their work. There you see a big chunk of the cliff that fell off on the side over there. You see a lot of branches and root systems that are hanging out, and as we pan down there again, you see more. It's basically mud or dirt, which used to be you know, alongside the cliff over here, and now it's just fallen down. And again, here's these sections. The only thing that's holding up that section right there in front of us are the roots of those trees, and perhaps the grass that's matted around the trees themselves. And we're gonna probably move in here a little bit closer here, and again, this area here, if you look at one of my videos from last year, there were just hundreds of bank swallow holes there. You see a few holes there, and it looks like they're getting back. I may go back here in a week or two to see if they've rebuilt them. Down below by the lake, you see a couple of trees that fell into the lake over the winter. They're sitting down there. The lake was real calm. This day. It was a south wind, wind blowing out over the lake, and now we're panning up the camera here to get a little bit better look. Here you can see I'm down below the level of where I had taken off. I'm over there back by the parking lot, sitting on a park bench and looking at my little 7-inch tablet. So as we're coming back, I mentioned before that the X380 has a real weird toilet bowl problem, and I took off. It was real stable, but as I started coming back, it started wandering in a different direction. Here I'm shooting it with my hat cam, and I'm having to give a lot of forward pitch and left roll in order to hold it steady, and I'm trying to bring it back and land it on my pad. And there's this gal that was watching me. She says, there you can see it going into its toilet bowl as soon as I left off the controls. So she asked me, are you going to land it on that pad? And I says, well, yeah, that's the general idea, but right now it's not behaving as it's supposed to. You can see it going into a toilet bowl there, and I says, I may just have to plop it on the ground here in order to get it to land, because it's, once it starts doing this, you just have to fight it all the time, and it's not a lot of fun, and I can handle it. Here you can see it from the camera view. Anyways, thanks for stopping by and watching. I hope that the bank swallows make it. Leave a comment, come back again, and thanks for watching.